views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Welcome to Cultural Brilliance Radio, the DNA of organizational excellence with Claudette Rowley. Conversations that are transforming the world of culture and business. Claudette brings fresh, innovative perspectives that push the boundaries of what organizational cultures can and should be. Learn how to catalyze your organization's workforce into an authentic, intentional, and financially successful culture. Now here's your host, Claudette Rowley.
Actually, this is Claudette Rowley's show, and I got to tell you, I'm Dr. Pat. I help facilitate this dialogue with Claudette, and it's really an honor to be here with her. For those of you out there, this is an amazing and auspicious day today. It is a day that when we step back and we look at our lives, we ask ourselves the question, what am I passionate about in the world? What would I like to do more of? What would I like to bring forth? This is that day for Claudette. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with her and to be able to say to all of you, that Claudette is Cultural Brilliance's CEO. That is a design firm, a consulting firm about culture. And her years of experience, engagement with employees, the facilitation of bringing a brilliant culture to the forefront is what she is passionate about. And so her work for over 15 years has been in the world of working with people at all levels, whether it's a CEO or an executive, or whether it's someone that is, on the front lines, believing in the excellence of their company. This is the work that she does. She is someone that works with teams, and as a result of all of that, is scripting a new narrative on culture called Cultural Brilliance. So this radio series and the idea of Cultural Brilliance Radio, the DNA of organizational excellence, is an idea whose time has come. Why? Because someone at the very core, that person, Claudette Rowley, has literally looked at this and said, a change is needed. Today's show in particular is one that we're excited to do as you hear from her directly about what this means and how this conversation is changing. Because guess what? Today's show is conversations that matter. Real talk for real change. And that conversation starts within each of us. Claudette, I am so excited to be here today. Wow, right?
Yeah, wow is right, Pat. I am so excited to be here too. And it is an exciting day to be putting cultural brilliance out into the world. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to talk with you before it's not even before we get into the show topic. It's actually about the show topic. Today we're looking at conversations that matter, but isn't sort of the birth of cultural brilliance really the essence of this, of bringing something real and authentic to the culture process and dialogue, right? How has this been for you to really define it, to look at it, and now to launch it? What has this been like?
It's been really exciting and eye-opening. One of the things that I was looking for, and you mentioned it earlier, was what's a problem that needs to be solved that I would enjoy helping solve? And I've been consulting for 15 years. I've been coaching for 15 years. I worked internally before that. So I have a wide range of experience of being inside organizations, outside organizations, working with lots of different cultures and in lots of different fields. And I noticed that, it was often the culture that was really causing pain in organizations. Or if it wasn't causing pain, it was holding the organization back from being as spectacular as it possibly could be and getting the best results it could be. And so that was something I really delved into. And what's a different way to approach culture? Or as you were saying, what's a different narrative around culture that would open it up a little bit more so that organizations could begin to understand what's true and authentic about their cultures, begin to understand they could actually design a culture that would support their growth and evolution and their people, and begin to integrate that. So it's opening up a different conversation and really a different way of looking at culture and seeing what's possible there.
And let's say this, for those of you tuning in, check it out. Go to the website culturalbrilliance.com. Check it out. This is such an expansive narrative that Claudette started this radio series here, but more than that, it's really a way of introducing something that works. And let's talk a little bit about this because, when we're talking about changing a conversation, because I think this is something you've said, change the conversation, change the culture. Many people would say, okay, yeah, that sounds great, but I don't even know where to begin. and I know you do. Where do we begin?
Well, part of one of the places fortunately, there are lots of different places one could begin. But a couple of the key ones are getting clear and honest about what the actual conversations in your culture and your organization. What's being talked about, what's not being talked about that perhaps should be talked about. Do people have deeper relational conversations where they really are able to connect with each other and solve real problems and come up with solutions that work and to be creative together? Or are there conversations just the generic, let's sit down to a meeting and exchange information? Or is it somewhere in between? So it's really about starting to understand for your particular organization what actually needs to be talked about. What are the conversations you need to be having and perhaps aren't having? And what are the ones you're having that really are helping your culture and helping your organization? Starting to understand what's going on there, because it's true, you cannot change what you're not talking about.
This is really kind of, this is exciting for a lot of reasons. And I think one of the reasons is that organizations have been, and this is me saying this, but really over the past 8 to 10 years, strapped by fear. And what I mean by that is, I'd love to be able to have a conversation, but I'm afraid if I say blue and you say gray, I'm going to get fired. And we know what that does to organizations, because we could see it by the mad exodus that people are doing now from the organizations that didn't really get what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And that's really kind of part of what we're talking about here today, that people can not only change the conversation, but engage other people in changing the conversation. How does one go about that? How do we get people engaged in doing this, so to speak?
Someone has to start, right? Someone in an organization, and hopefully it's the leader or someone in leadership. Anybody can do it, but starts those kinds of conversations. Because what you described about, if I talk about blue and you say yellow, I'm going to get fired. Right. There's that contraction and fear that people have. And, once the people start contracting in fear, they do typically, most people stop talking. Or they stop talking in direct ways, or they stop talking to the people that could actually make a change or they could collaborate with. So it's, part of it's about the leader, the leadership, the mid-managers actually starting to model this, having these conversations. Like, let's have a different kind of conversation at our meeting today. What's really going on that we haven't talked about? Do we have any elephants in the room? What have we perhaps been avoiding? What would you like to say that you're really nervous to say? And of course you have to set safety, emotional safety parameters around that kind of a conversation. But actually having that manager or leader open up a different conversation and see what happens.
And you know what I love about this, Claudette? Because one of the things I remember from my HR days is the case that we made to senior management that internal HR were not the people to do this. Mm-hmm. Because basically we were just as afraid of everybody else. But bringing someone such as yourself into the organization, you pretty much get to be neutral in the process. So when you bring this conversation to the organizations, isn't it true that you can help create some parameters that people within the organization might not be able to do?
Yeah, definitely. So as an external person, right, I'm partnering with the client. I'm partnering with the client, whoever that client happens to be, and we're understanding, why I'm coming in, what my purpose is there, what I'm trying to achieve. So yeah, it's a lot easier for me to help set parameters, help set, ground rules around what's okay and what's not, and what's going to be emotionally safe in a conversation, because I'm not part of that particular system. And so it's a lot easier for an external. But the idea there again is that my job is to work myself out of a job.
Yeah.
That team or that organization learns the skills they need to learn so that I leave, right? And they go ahead on their own.
Yeah. What I love is we're going to be talking about something I find fascinating just to listen to Claudette talk about. And that is what it means to decode your culture by listening. Decode your culture by listening. Why is this so important? Well, if you go take a look at the body of work on culture, you'll see that for the most part, people talk about what's below the iceberg. What Claudette does is her model of authenticity, design, and integration does bring to the surface those things that are below. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what is this decoding process? What has Claudette discovered? And why are we thrilled about the launch today? If you go look, culturalbrilliance.com. We'll be right back, everyone.
It's that time of the year again. The Women of Wisdom Fall Harvest Festival is right around the corner. Join us on October 1st from 10:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. at North Seattle Community College Conference Center. Admission is free. Festivities include arts and crafts, energy healers, intuitive readers, delicious food, and more. Don't miss this fun-filled event. For more information, visit womanofwisdom.org. That is womanofwisdom.org, and we'll see you there.
Are you sick of feeling overworked with no motivation? Take a break from the daily grind. Life coach Nicole Eisler is here to provide a healing journey of optimism. Passionate and caring, Nicole is no ordinary soul. Her dedication to helping everyone has no limit. Witness the power of positivity. Tune in every first and third Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific for Positivity Party Radio with Nicole Eisler on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit BigDreamAwakening.com.
What is a brilliant culture? And how do we create them? Why are they important? Claudette Rowley has created a breakthrough 5-step process to help you design a culture that is authentic, innovative, and successful. Learn how to create change with Cultural Brilliance Radio, the DNA of organizational excellence, and Claudette Rowley. To learn more or work with Claudette, visit ClaudetteRowley.com.
Hi, this is Leslie Fontaine, and my show is Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com. When we're bogged down with our emotions, the hardships that plague us in our relationships, at work, our finances, we literally can't see the higher plane where we could be operating from. Tune in to Leslie Fontaine, Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Get ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics and guests.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.